A few days ago, someone on Twitter asked people to name one underrated Bollywood movie, and along with that tweet, he or she shared an image of Andhadhun, and I was like, what? I have nothing against this person, and of course everyone has their own definition of underrated, but Andhadhun, not only was it critically acclaimed, won 3 national awards, made more than 450 crores at the India and China box office, remade in multiple languages. So at least for these reasons, I don't think it's underrated. And that's why in today's video, I wanted to talk about some truly underrated Bollywood films that deserve much more attention. And speaking of things that deserve attention, if you're watching this video, you're obviously a big fan of movies, and if you are, I'd like you to check out my online store, fullyfilmy.in. And with less than 1 month to go, among hundreds of other products, we recently released your first day first show outfit for Barbie or Oppenheimer or both. There's many more such products that a movie fan would like. Go check it out on fullyfilmy.in. And now let's begin with the list. Kaun, Pravin, Tambe. Have you ever said this to yourself? Luck is not on my side. Or maybe someone has told you this. Your bad time is going on right now. If you felt this way, you have to know the story of Pravin Tambe, a man whom Lady Luck seemed to ignore for many years.
A lot of times people come here and expect me to talk about, Tendulkar and Lakshman and Ganguly and Kumble's, and they're all great cricketers, and I've played with a lot of them, and they all, had some amazing quality. But the story that I like to tell is about Pravin Tambe.
This is the first time I watched a biopic of a man without actually knowing who he is, and then went on to Google if this story is actually true, because his story is that unbelievable. The world of cricket, as we know, is a hyper competitive field, and you need many things going for you if you want to play for your country, your state, your city. But the most important factor that you need on your side is time. This is a world where players enter as early as 15 or 16 and retire in their 30s, post which they become either commentators or coaches or members of the cricket board or the association. And in the same world, you have a common man like Pravin Tambe, whose only dream in life is to play in a Ranji team, and he's ready to do anything to get selected. Take up any job at any company that lets him play for the company team, get practice, get exposure, or even work as a waiter in a dance bar at night so that he can practice and play during the day. He doesn't care if he's 36 years old. He doesn't care if the world tells him that his time is up, that he needs to stop. And if you're truly obsessed with your dream and prepared to go to any lengths for it, even if it takes time, for such people, the universe conspires to make it happen for them. This is a one-of-a-kind underdog story where a lot of people will see themselves in Pravin, played by a pitch-perfect Shreyas Talpade, who was born to play this role because of his boyish looks, innocence, and earnestness. And this man's journey will drive home a very simple, powerful message. Never ever give up on your dreams. Shor in the city. Before they made the hugely successful Family Man and Farzi, 2 Telugu boys called Raj and DK, who went from being software engineers in the US to come all the way back to India to make it in the film industry, made their 3rd film, where one of the scenes that stuck so vividly in my memory was of a young couple making out at a lover's point in Mumbai, and the girl stops kissing midway just to complain that her lips are dry. With that one scene, their quirk, their unique sensibilities were established, and we got the quintessential Mumbai film about characters that you'll only get to see in this city. Trying to hustle, trying to survive, trying to do anything to make ends meet. A film that was low on budget, but big on ideas and balanced sexiness, grime, crime, humor, and karma in equal measure. A film which made us go, wow, Tushar Kapoor can act? This was also a film that made a lot of us, including me, crush on this woman called Radhika Apte long before Netflix made her its poster girl. Every time I listen to the evergreen Saibo from the soundtrack today, I'm taken back to this golden period of Bollywood when they used to make these small films purely based on the unique content that found love within critics and audiences alike. Something that feels like a distant dream in today's world. Aamir. Some stories have this strange power. I watched Aamir once 15 years ago, and it had such a great impact on me that it feels like I just watched it yesterday. And not just that, it's this rare film which I can almost smell because of how Rajkumar Gupta sucked us into his world, into the bylanes of Dongri in Mumbai, where the main character, apart from all the things that he has to do on that fateful day, has to retrieve something from a rundown public toilet. Aamir is a great example of anxiety-inducing films where you don't just watch but become the main character, stuck in this nightmare of a video game where one phone call changes your life instantly, sending you to complete a bunch of challenges while time is running out on 5x speed. You would imagine that such a tight, tense, engaging film would not have any songs. And yeah, while the protagonist never really breaks into this dream sequence with the heroine, it still has one of the finest Hindi films of that decade. In fact, the very first album of Hindi cinema's own treasure, Amit Trivedi. If you watch this film when it first came out, you'll relate to how bad it feels when people around you tell you that they've not even heard of it. Last Train to Mahakali. In the last few years, Anurag Kashyap's work might be missing the raw energy, anger, dark humor, or even just good storytelling, which were all his biggest strengths in the beginning of his career, when he would just go out and make films on his own terms, whether there's a budget or not. A prime example of that came out 24 years ago in 1999. Shot in less than 4 days on a budget less than 4 lakhs with a camera he borrowed from a friend who used to work at MTV, promising him that he'll give him a role in his film. Last Train to Mahakali is a 45-minute thriller he made for Star Bestsellers, starring KK Menon as a doctor who claims to have found a cure for any deadly virus on this planet. The dialogues, the mood, every shot, and especially this one, has signature Kashyap written all over it. And it represents the fearless, hungry artist he used to be, which we don't see much of today, unfortunately. Shaurya. When we think of stories of the army, we mostly imagine men who have left their lives, lovers, or families behind to go on a never-ending mission, the ultimate sacrifice to serve and protect our country. But just because films, pop culture, and politicians have made us believe this one side, doesn't mean that there's no other side to them. Shaurya, which literally translates to courage, also talks about an act of heroism, but not in a way that you would imagine. It's a courtroom drama set in the military world where justice has a completely different interpretation to some people. If you watch the film today, yes, it's flawed, yes, it spends a lot of time trying to make Rahul Bose's character look cool, but the meat of the story is the final act, especially the last 15 minutes of the film, which are super impactful, and those 15 minutes prove two things. We do not celebrate this actor called KK Menon enough. And two, while this movie came out 15 years ago, it's much more relevant today. Shanghai. Imran Hashmi shedding his serial kisser image to become a slimy photographer. Kalki Keklan as an activist trying to spread a truth that no one wants to hear. And Abhay Deol as an orthodox Tamilian IAS officer in a political thriller by one of our finest filmmakers, Dibakar Banerjee. Shanghai is the cinematic version of that Dark Knight quote. The hero we deserve, just not the one we need right now. When we look back at Hindi cinema over the years, there are quite a few films that we didn't pay enough attention to just because there's so much truth in it. And few other films that could never be made today because of all the truth that they tried to show. Shanghai is a cocktail of both these types of films that you can try to ignore, but if you do happen to watch it, which you should, it will not leave your system. Hazaaron, Khwaishen, Aisi, which is the third film featuring KK Menon in this list. It's a work of art that I keep going back to, but I find it hard to describe why I love it so much. Maybe it's because of the 70s setting, which I've always been so much interested in. Maybe it's the performances of the lead cast before Shiny Ahuja decided to ruin his career and our memories. Maybe it's the unbelievably gorgeous Chitrangada Singh, who shares such a raw sexual tension with KK's character. Maybe it's the music. The song Bawra Man, which has been covered so many times and features in thousands of reels today, came from this movie. Or maybe it's the unavoidable heartbreaks of life that each of the characters represent, which makes sense for the title as well, which roughly translates to thousands of such wishes. With the backdrop of the Indian emergency, a time when India was going through incredible social and political changes, forcing an entire country to grow up very quickly. It was a time when every Indian youth had dreams and aspirations and passions to go after, but no matter how hard Geeta, Siddharth and Vikram try to go after what they want, they never end up getting it. And the question is, do you still go after what you can't get and enjoy that pain? Or do you find satisfaction in what you really end up with? I don't know how many people can relate to this, but sometimes I want to feel such a bittersweet feeling, especially through music and movies, and for that pain, Hazaaron Khwaishen Aisi is the syrup that hurts you but calms you down at the same time. And that's it for part 1 of this list. I'm sure there'll be a part 2, part 3 and so many more. I want to hear your suggestions in the comments, which we can talk about in the upcoming parts. If you enjoyed the content, give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. Don't forget to check out fullyfilmy.in if you're a movie fan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.